Hey, this is Patrick Findaro, co-founder at Vetted Biz. Today I'm with Heidi Morrissey, who's the brand president of Kitchen Tune-Up as well as Bath Tune-Up. These are two franchise concepts that together have well over 200 locations. Kitchen Tune-Up has 255 locations, and Bath Tune-Up, after just operating a little over a year, has 29 units. Heidi joined Kitchen Tune-Up back in 2003. And was a bit pushed into the role, given her father was the founder of Kitchen Tune-Up. And before I get too much into the bio on Heidi, Kitchen Tune-Up, Bath Tune-Up, you should hear it directly from her. And I'd love to just start off, Heidi, tell us a little bit how you re-entered this industry with your father's urging.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I never really had a big interest in the family business. My dad had a cabinet business before he started Kitchen Tune-Up, and I have three brothers and a sister. And my brothers always worked with my dad in some form, but I was always doing my own thing and actually went to school and became a teacher. So my first profession was actually as an educator. And after moving away and living in another state, I was doing my own business for about 11 years and, kind of raising my kids. My husband was a teacher, and my dad approached me about coming and helping him in the business, mostly on the training side. He was feeling like the training program needed to be, enhanced or tunified, as we say. And I didn't have a lot of interest at first because I didn't know much about the industry, but, he kind of pulled the grandchild card on me and said the grandkids would probably love to be closer. My dad was a great salesperson.
My dad lives 15 blocks from us. So.
And, I thought maybe we'll give it a try. We'll give it a year. And there was not really a plan in 2003 that someday I would take the company, right? It was really just come and help out so dad can leave and go on vacation once in a while, because my brothers by this time had all exited the business. And so when I came back and I started going through the training program and really seeing the gaps that needed to be filled, a lot of it happened to be in sales and marketing. So studying everything I could about sales and marketing, really got in there and started to teach that. And that was what I was doing in my other business. I was helping people become salespeople. So that was not new to me, and helping out with developing the training. So it made sense. And, really from there, you kind of fall in love with the industry or you don't, right? And so obviously for me, I fell in love with this idea of these entrepreneurs that were willing to risk everything to start a business. And sure, I felt this obligation,
paycheck, right?
Yeah, right. And it was so, it's so inspiring to meet people that are willing to do that. And I just kind of started to say, I want to support them. I want to help them. I want to grow a team that wants to support and help them. And so as we started to do that, it just became more and more apparent through the years that I would be the heir apparent. And people started to assume that I already was running the business. And so by 2017, when I took over, I think most people thought I was already the president. And so it was really a pretty easy transition.
And what piqued your interest in this industry? Can you give us a little overview of the segment?
Home improvement generally, females are who buy home improvement projects. And I thought it was really interesting when I came that there really weren't any females in any leadership roles here. And so some of the marketing actually looked more masculine. It had that feel. So women over 55 are typically going to be the influencers in what's going to happen in the home and change. So I wasn't that old then, I am now, but then I realized that there was a female touch that was needed, both from the sales side and the marketing side. And so you start understanding the consumer's needs. And I'm not a handy person, so I rely on home services a lot.
Yeah.
I meet a lot of people that are really handy. My husband and I are not. And so once I started to see that, wow, we could really take this industry that doesn't have the best reputation. People think of home improvement and they dread it.
It's just not very transparent. You get like shocked, you get some crazy big bill, and then who are you going to go to verify that?
That's right. And also, I think the reputation is they don't return phone calls. People don't show up on time. The project is messy. It takes forever.
They leave a mess and they leave a mess.
So we had a really big space that we could come in and fill this gap and really be different right away. And that was really exciting to me, is to be something different and to bring in an experience that people, like, literally when people have their kitchens remodeled or they cry afterwards from happiness. They just can't believe that's the space that they're going to be feeding their families. And to be able to know that we could create an experience that made people cry with happiness and not sadness.
Probably especially given the pandemic, just a lot,
Yeah.
people are spending a lot more time at home, more conscious about what they eat, how they cook it.
Well, and also they use that space differently. A lot of people were using their kitchen maybe 3 times a week. And all of a sudden you went to using it 21 times a week because you had to cook every meal there.
For sure.
And
breakfast, lunch,
yeah. So
dinner.
anything you didn't like about your kitchen, that wobbly drawer or that handle, I mean, you really hated it after about 2 weeks. And so obviously that really inspired people to want to get that space updated as fast as possible.
And tell me a little bit, who's the competition, both for, I guess, both your service brands? Who are you competing with? Like, is it mom and pops? Are there big companies in the space?
Probably the mom and pop. Interestingly, in the spaces, there isn't anyone that really owns a lot of market share. It's just very fractured. And so you've got all this fracturing. And so you've got different size businesses, whether it is the mom and pop. In some markets, you may have some of the big box stores that are in part of that space. There are a couple of other franchises, of course, that are also in that space. But because the fracturing is happening across the US, you'll never go into a market and that's like the go-to for kitchen remodeling or bath remodeling. And that's one of my goals, actually, is to create that market share that's going to be leaning obviously on the tune-up brands.
And how are you differentiating? Like, I imagine the mom and pops, it's like very relationship based. And then the big box retailers have the brand recognition. How do you differentiate both kitchen tune-up at both your brands?
Sure. Well, it's all about the experience, right? How many times do you think in your lifetime you're going to remodel a kitchen?
I would guess like 3 times.
Yeah. So maybe 3 times. So it's not a common purchase. And one thing that consumers, they always feel like when it's not something that they commonly purchase, they feel a little bit nervous about it. So we have a whole process from the time we start talking with them to things that we send out to the way we interact. That's just so different. And we hear it all the time. They'll say, I had some other bids, but nobody was doing it like you did it. And we hear about that experience, that they're interactive, but at the same time, we're educational. I think that maybe comes from my background.
Exactly.
A lot of that, helping them to feel confident that they are making that decision right now. And
then, so you've spoken a little bit about what the consumer wants and how you brought a very unique lens given your prior experience, and just, it was a male dominated space and the consumer's female, which
that's right,
clearly can add value there. Someone that wants to enter in the space as a franchisee, do they need to have some experience in home service, or what do you look for in what's a successful franchisee? Like, what's their background like?
So you're not going to be surprised to hear this. I look for lifelong learners.
Okay.
As a franchise owner. And a lot of them, over 85% of our owners have 0 experience. They're not handy. They don't really need to be because they're not going to do the work. So I'm looking for people that are very optimistic generally, right? Because I like to have fun at work, and I like to have fun talking to people. And if fun isn't kind of part of it, then they probably aren't going to enjoy what we do, because we have a lot of funny words that we use, like toonies and tunified and all of those good things. But also just somebody that's interested in learning and growing and developing their skills, because you're going to come in with some skills that you bring in from your past careers, right? Sure. But you won't have necessarily every skill you need to be a business owner. So you have to have this desire to continue to grow those skill sets so you can become the best franchise owner that you can possibly be. So maybe you're really strong in operations, but you need some marketing and sales, or vice versa, right? You could be strong in one area, and our job is to help grow all of those skill sets throughout your lifetime of your business. So I love the lifelong learner. I love the optimistic viewpoint, and people that are resilient. Things are going to happen.
Yeah, there's recessions.
There's recessions.
There's natural
there's
disasters.
Pandemics. There is different labor forces. And, I think that it's important for you to know that as entrepreneurs, we just have to go out and just get things done. And, things are going to happen around us, but we're going to solve for those, and we're going to keep going forward. And so that's important.
My entrepreneur friends lost their jobs or lost their businesses.
Right.
But I do know quite a few people that lost their jobs over the last year, sadly.
Yeah, that is, it's hard because, where is that thing that tethers you to security? I don't think that it exists as it once did in life. I think now you have to create your own security a lot of
People are
times.
moving around. You don't
Mhm.
stay at the same company forever and get a nice pension after it.
Not as often.
And are franchisees working mostly full time in the business?
Yeah, most of the owners are probably running the business more like they're maybe taking on the lead of a project manager,
Okay.
possibly a sales manager. A lot of them are hiring. They are going to have installers. They're going to have some salespeople. And so we always say, find your strength and then hire the things that you're not as strong in. And then
Mm-hmm.
just keep becoming a business owner. So the bigger they get, I find that the less hours they have to work because
Okay.
they've now placed people in all those strategic areas that they need. Their org chart changes significantly from one level to the next.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. How do they manage the day-to-day operations? I know it depends on kind of what their strong suit is, as you just
Mhm.
mentioned, but what's like the day-to-day for
Yeah,
a
well, we've got
franchisee?
an amazing um, organizational system that we implemented in 2018. It's really a sophisticated operations system for them. So they're able to really have access and view on everything that's going on in the business, from what's happening out in the field to which sales are being quoted and which ones are being closed. And so we do have owners now that do operate territories that are more remote too, so that they
Okay.
can have that visibility because the operations system is that strong now. And that was a big push for us in 2018 to get that going because
Hmm.
we knew owners had bigger dreams and we knew that to support that, you had to have some technology, right? I think that we're in place to be this technology company that just happens to do kitchen and baths.
Yeah, you see that with a lot of the most successful franchise systems like
Mhm,
Domino's Pizza, where
mhm.
ghost kitchen's a big trend right now, but Domino's has been doing that for the last 20 years and
That's
passing the
right.
value down to the franchisees.
Yeah. And I love that our home company, home franchise concepts, just they're so strong in the technology side and some of the things that we're going to be putting into place in the next few years. We want to stay quite a bit ahead of anyone else as far as in this space. What are we doing that's really different technology wise? And this is a very visual space, but it also is a space where we can shorten the amount of time it takes to get a quote done, let's say. So when I go out to the home, I can actually provide 3 quotes when I'm there.
Hmm.
That's really unusual for a lot of home improvement companies. They have to go back home and work up their bid, right? And bring it in and present it. But our system allows us to do that right in the house.
And do you help the franchisees get like with sales, getting leads, or are they on their own there?
So there's 2 different components. Of course, you've got local marketing that
Sure.
the owner is going to do. We bring in a lot of suppliers and we give them a whole guide, list of here's what you should be doing, each day or each week or each month. And then of course there's national advertising. National advertising has been our #1 lead generator probably for the last 7 years
Hmm.
because we can do a lot nationally when it comes to digital marketing. And so that really does help to bring attention to the website, to do the SEO that's needed. And I think that with the 2 of those together, leads are not really too much of an issue right now
That's good. It's
because
more
there are a
just
lot of people
fulfilling
that
the
really want to get
job
this
and
done.
probably some labor constraints depending where you are.
Yeah, I would say that right now, just keeping up with the people, there's just this backlog. I think the industry, if you look at the housing industry generally, we're about 5.5 million houses short of what is needed in the US right now. So what does that mean for people that own a home, right? They're not going to be going anywhere necessarily. They're going to continue to improve it. And as their home value increases, they are going to continue to invest in the home as there's equity available.
For sure. And for someone that wants to open up a kitchen tune-up or bath
Mhm.
tune-up, what's like the general investment range?
Yeah, right now for kitchen tune-up, we're about 72,000. And you're all in, it'd probably be right around 99 to 120, depending on what you're putting in play right away. For bath tune-up, we actually are at 65 as a franchise
Okay.
fee, but we're doing actually some launch promos right now. It's only 40 right now. We've got about 10 more of those left where
Nice.
somebody can launch for a lot less because we're in our first year. You mentioned that we're over a year. We actually are coming up on our 1-year anniversary. We're not quite there yet, but in January we'll hit 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how does the franchisee make money with both these brands?
Well, with Kitchen Tune-Up, we have 5 core services that we go out, we fix up the wood. That's our tune-up. We've got painting, we've got redooring and refacing, which is our biggest part of our business, which is basically you leave your cabinets where they are and you come in and, change out the doors and the drawer fronts and make it look completely different, or a brand new kitchen. So we've got a lot in the toolbox for people to go out and do. And in the bathroom space, we do things like you could replace your tub or your shower, you could do a conversion or a full bath remodeling. So they've got multiple services to provide to someone. So it gives us different price points depending on the budget for that homeowner and where they're going to go. So those are obviously the ways that they're going to go out there and make the money that they're going to make.
Okay. And what regions are you targeting? I imagine for bath tune-up, it's a little more open, but where would you like franchisees? If a franchisee could open anywhere in the United States,
do I get a wish
recommend?
list?
these 10 franchisees that can just pay $40K to open up a bath tune-up.
For bath tune-up. Yeah, bath tune-up, you know what? We've got a lot of market. And, I would look at where we have sold out for a long time with kitchen tune-up, where we haven't had availability, like Boston, Massachusetts would be a great one. That's been sold out for kitchen tune-up for a lot of years. Austin, Texas would be another place I would look at that's been sold out. So it'd be great to put bath tune-up there. We are looking, obviously, we like, Kansas City, Chicago. Bath tune-up, I could go on and on. Just give me a map and I will give you some locations. And, kitchen tune-up, we've got a really good, diverse area. We're definitely more saturated on the east, but we still have plenty of room to grow. So as we're looking at different markets there's still quite a bit to grow into Florida. We definitely have some more. Texas is so big. Of course, you've always got lots of room in Texas to grow. And we're always looking for people that, in states that have more of the contractors that are needed. I mean, like California, obviously we've got lots of space there to keep growing too.
Wow. Okay. And how running the franchise and also from a consumer perspective, how has it developed in COVID? You mentioned, people are having more meals in their kitchen, but is it harder to run this type of business? Easier?
I think that, you got smart franchises and they pivoted very quickly. I remember March when everything started shutting down. The very first thing we all did was we made a decision that we were going to get through this, right? We're going to figure out what to do. We're going to put the pedal down on the gas and not slow down, right? And then we learned how to do virtual sales calls. That was really quick for us. And we've actually kept that. So even though, we are still meeting with people, that virtual appointment prior to meeting with them just makes all the difference from time for everybody. A lot of our owners have got great COVID protocols that they put into place. And now they've kind of become normalized. At the time it was probably pretty odd to have to figure out, where am I going to get gloves or sanitizers or masks? And now it's kind of like, that's just in the kit. It's just there ready to go. So those are some things that they're doing. Obviously, we're starting now to get in the post-vaccination time. And so now we're getting some questions about, is the team vaccinated? That's working in there. So we're getting some new things, but I have full faith that the owners, they're working really hard to be creative and to, make sure that they can answer all the needs that are happening out there.
Okay. And Heidi, one last question to conclude our discussion today. What data or key metrics do you track daily, weekly? At Vetted Biz, we're all about getting the right data and communicating those findings. So I'm curious to hear from you, either what you're tracking daily or weekly, or what franchisees are tracking weekly.
I think we're all looking at the same thing. I think a lot of the owners, what we're looking for is how do we convert our leads into appointments, right? How many appointments to sales? What's our average ticket? What's our gross profit? Ultimately, at the end of the month, we're going to want to know our net and how we're doing and what we're able to make on those. So we're really big into profit benchmarks or KPIs, because that is the most important part for the owners, is they need to know what their numbers are. They need to know how many customers am I going to get from each of my $1,000 of marketing spend. These are some important things. And luckily our operations system does a great job of flowing that information. And we can look at it from a dashboard nationally, and we can see which sales are in where are they at in the stage. Are they ordered? Are they already produced? When are they going to be done? So that really gives us a lot of insight for planning and preparation. And we're able to share that with our suppliers so that they can be prepared for the big months too.
Well, yeah, it sounds more like a technology company than like a home services franchise.
Well, I kind of use that as a goal for a while. I feel like technology is, again, the place where we can stay ahead a little bit more.
Yeah, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
distinguish yourselves from the mom and pops and the big
Yeah.
box retailers.
Yes.
Well, Heidi, I'll leave a link in the show notes for anyone that's interested in exploring kitchen tune-up, bath tune-up. But is there anything that you'd like to talk about at the end today?
Here's the thing. I think with anybody looking at a business right now, I look at people as just super brave right now, because you're doing something in a landscape that is continually changing, and it probably always has, but right now it just seems more obvious that it's always
Sure.
changing. And I look at people that are striving for that, and they're looking for that, and I'm like, wow, that is amazing. I mean, good for you of trying to take control of your life. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're about. We're about supporting people that are looking for that big change. So I appreciate you inviting me to come and chat a little bit more about the business. Obviously, I have a lot of pride for the tune-up brands. Love them.
No, definitely. Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about, multi-generational and
Yeah.
having a brand for decades. So
Yeah.
again, for those that are listening, Heidi Morrissey, brand president at Kitchen Tune-Up and Bath Tune-Up. We'll leave contact information if you're interested in exploring further these brands. And Heidi, thanks again so much for joining.
Oh, thank you so much.